Little did we know that when we recorded a podcast with Philip Roderick on his 75th birthday, it would be his last birthday. Philip died in August of this year. We've released an edited version of the podcast as a way of saying farewell to a dear travelling companion. The music you hear is Philip playing his hang drum. 10 years after starting an album, he asked if I would help finish the album, something I and a friend are currently doing. In Philip's own words.
So I'm not very good at the outcome of creativity, but I love the process.
We want to share with you our favourite parts of the conversation we had with Philip. No interruptions from us, just Philip, his words, his heart, his openness and his music.
I love nature. First of all, there's green energy, the nature of things, and trees and fields. And then there's blue of the seashore. I just love the seashore. We waited 27 years to come and live by the sea. So there's a greenness of things which is part of me, deeply a part of me, from running on the cliffs, walking in nature, setting up the quiet garden movement. Again, in nature. And blue, the crash and the flash of the green sea. And then there's another colour that came down the line, as it were. So green and blue, and then multicoloured, because the human community of which I'm a part. I hope so, anyway. The multicolouredness is the community of people who are all hues and shapes and sizes, and of course all nature is too, but there's something about the multilingual, multicultural, chopped up bits, smooth bits, patterned bits, all flowing. So I'm a part of that, and the seeing it of colour was, I thought, oh, that's quite nice, because these are colours beyond colour, where there's colour, and sometimes there's blackness and greyness and coldness and warmth. So I think I would use that metaphor of blue, green and multicoloredness. I think the learning of things, I was privileged to have most of my teachers, the people who have been teaching, have been gracious, generous. There was one of my teachers called God, and he was a 6 foot something character, and he would preface most things he was saying, especially when I was concerned. Oh God, Philip, what are you doing? So he got known in the school as God. So one old battle axe wanted to teach me music, so I started learning the piano. But she was a fearsome woman, and there was something of the fearsomeness of reality that has struck me and remained a thread. It's not only the wow, it is that, but one of my parishioners, when I was running a parish, said to me after one sermon I preached, "Yes, lovely sermon, Philip. That was very rich. But remember, life is not only wow. And there is also the sad side and the shy boy side. One of the archetypes that I've held to be my own is the shy man or the shy boy. I think that is a part of me which has its own glowing, its own lamenting to do." I remember writing on a wooden stool that was in my parents' garage when I was about 14. And I must have held the word love deeply, because I painted on the word love on this wooden stepladder. My dad wasn't too familiar or polite about writing poetry all over furniture, but it felt an important receptacle. Life is also awake. There's something going on about, ah, there's there's a sadness and a longing. The Welsh call it hiraeth, the longing for the mother country, the longing to be in a place of peacemaking. I realized there's another side to human community which is not only multicolored and multilingual and multi-conceptual, but actually there is a tragedy, that there is truly a tragic part which enables people to be doing injustice to people. The scripts that people will run by, all of us to some extent, are woven through with dark red, but also green and blue. It's this movement from invitation to proclamation. So we have to tell a story. I am a storyteller and love hearing story, and I'm a lover of the word. I love it. This intoxication by love of word. Huh. There is like a revelation, and all the great faith traditions, and I'm particularly drawn by the Christian one, but I have huge respect for Buddhist, Sufi, and so on. They will all present themselves as in a stage play. You're suddenly aware of a new character. So that it's almost not by invitation, but by triggering. So a word or a piece of beauty or a flow of the energy of life can suddenly impact or gradually impact. So my inner being then knows this is authentic, and it hurts. Or I know my stupidity, and it hurts. Philip in the New Testament, he came to ask Jesus a question. Show me the Father, said this man. And he said, God said, Philip, I have been with you for so long, and yet you still do not know me. And I still carry that sadness around with me. Oh, golly. I can miss connections. So the connection can be laid out. And the aha moments again reappear, disappear, present themselves. There's a lovely book called Exclusion and Embrace. In other words, we can go from a place of exclusion, which the human community is up to all the time, or embrace. So I know myself to be called out to open my arms, as we all are. We're all called into that dance, the movement. Now I've declared something of myself. This is a scary space. But thank heavens there's somebody here who understands and who loves. It's great stuff, all this, really. Creativity is one of the very few words which really fire my heart and my soul. Creativity. I'm quite where that came, but I think the very essence of the Jesus story is one of God creates. One of the first things God does is God creates. So whether one is working within a God framework where that sort of language is helpful or not, there's the creative movement, the creative engagement reflects the energy of God and the energy of the human. So there's this amazing hallowedness almost, where the holiness of things and the wonder of seeing that holiness becomes translated into creativity. And whether it's poetry or dance or sculpture, wonderful. That is a call. For me, that's a call. And then to be creative, you need to be a learner. So there's a deep quality of learning. And then all sorts of things. Teach our teachers then. So creativity, yes, please. I was trained as a teacher, and my mother was a French teacher. My sister was a teacher. My father was a lecturer in university. So learning or teaching has been part of my landscape of possibilities. And it is linked to creativity. Creativity, learning, discipleshiping. Remarkable. So then one has to be on the lookout for clues. So we are also detectives, looking, expecting, sometimes missing the point. That's the journey of the creative, and the phrase that people sometimes use is the creatives, i.e., people who are touched and opened by creativity and what that can do. So I'm not very good at the outcome of creativity, but I love the process. Alice Walker, she had this great phrase, business got off to walk past the colour purple and not see it. And I thought, what a great thing to say. One of the teachers we haven't mentioned for me has been having a neurodegenerative disease. Parkinson's is also my teacher. So it's a tough place to be sometimes. But there are many people who are on that tough path too. But if it's a neurodegenerative disease, it means that every answer, I hope you're feeling better, is portioned by the inside reality saying you're going downhill, because that's the nature of this disease. So that's where the other side comes in. So when I retired, on the day of my retirement, I was due to see the doctor, and he diagnosed me that I had Parkinson. That was the day of the declaration of my retirement. But there are unfortunate systems, times where things are untoward as opposed to toward. But there is a teaching there, and boy, I have so much to learn. But I wanted to say that because a disease of which many people suffer can have its own teaching gifts. Yeah. And then it's pretty close to the surface sometimes. My little granddaughter, who's 8, she knows that they're troubled a bit by seeing that my hand shakes a lot of the time. So there's a visible reminder to them I've got something wrong with Poppy. They call me Poppy, which is very nice. We were discussing ways in which my tremor could stop tremoring. So with this little 8-year-old, Riley, we were discussing a few weeks ago what would stop the tremor. And I said a gentle touch on the hand was what would be a symbol for her of wanting to heal. So now, whenever we see each other, there will be some time in the meeting where my hand inadvertently will start tremoring. And little Riley, if she sees it, will come up to me and just place her little hand on mine. So she's the wise one. We're dancing with delight and dancing, but also with lament. So we're constantly having this movement between lament and delight, and both are entirely valid and fascinating and alluring. And then we have the natural world, which I just love, the rhythms of the nature. We're talking about simplicity and profundity and craziness and depth and shallow water and deep water. And all that goes on in my being, and making many mistakes and learning. Fascinating. The energy for learning from the hands of a master or a mistress is really rich. So some of the wisest people I've known have been simple people with a shaking of the salt cellar. Some people who have been exceptional human beings. The fascinating thing is, as we traverse through life, we find, oh wow, a recognition point. Oh wow, this is amazing. So one of my favorite words is wow. But of course, the wow factor, oh wow, is one I love. But there is also the other side of wow. There is wonder, but there is deep reflection and pain, and somehow we're caught in the twilight hour. I used to go running on the cliffs in South Wales, and I've always, since I was a boy, loved the dusk, when things were unclear, beautiful but unclear, and you can experience the dark side of the reality and also the lovely side. So there's all these delightful, delicious paradoxes. And so that's the learning journey which one is calling to and which calls to me. So I suppose that's me, really.
While I was travelling home on the train after Philip's funeral, I was reflecting on our friendship, and I was reflecting on the curiosity and the hope that he had often brought into my life, and I found myself writing a poem. So I'd like to leave you with this poem. It's called The Priest. The Priest. I thought if anyone could walk on water, it would be you. If anyone could coax the trees to dance and the earth to rise in full concert, it would be you. I thought if anyone could shake the dogma of the old ways, it would be you. If anyone could join the hearts of cynics and Celts, of atheists and architects, of priests and poets, of hedonists and Bolsheviks, of clowns and crowns, it would be you. I thought if anyone could fall playing football with their grandchild, it would be you. If anyone could paint the word love on his dad's ladder, it would be you. I thought if anyone could learn from the silence in their leaving, it would be you. If anyone could bequeath their playfulness to the world, it would be you. Travel well, dear friend.